Welcome to the Huddle, a discussion about how the changing face of the workplace is leading not only to happier, healthier lifestyles, but also better work. I'm Rian Chandler-Dovis, coming to you from my home in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. I'm a managing partner at Brand Federation, a consultancy built to bring out the best in people by giving them the flexibility to live their most fulfilling lives. On the Huddle, I talk one-on-one with branding and marketing professionals. We'll get to know them as people, what motivates and inspires them, what advice they have for others, and how their lifestyles are supporting great work. Welcome to today's episode of The Huddle, where we're talking to Claire Glisson, a senior strategist working for Brand Federation and other organizations independently out of her home in Amsterdam. We're going to talk a little bit about how it feels to live in a different culture, the pros and cons, a little bit about some of her recent travel to Greece, and about her love for dogs and dog rescue. Claire, will you kick us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your professional journey, how you got to where you are today?
I went to the VCU Brand Center right after undergrad. So I kind of knew that I wanted to be in marketing and advertising. And I took a job right out of the Brand Center, just doing marketing at a local place based in Charlottesville, Virginia. Quickly learned that maybe working in-house or working for one brand or one company was not the best fit for me. So I started to look for ways to make my work more flexible, working for other clients. I wasn't fully interested in the full-on agency lifestyle. It was more just like, how can I get that flexibility and work on cool projects and work on a lot of them at once? And so I started building that way. It took a while. I had to learn a lot of lessons along the way. But here I am all these years later, and now I'm freelancing full-time and working remotely. That's something that I've been working towards, and I'm happy with where I am these days.
That's awesome, Claire. And will you tell us a little bit about where you live and how it enriches your life to be able to work from where you want?
Yeah, definitely. I live in Leiden in the Netherlands, which is about half an hour outside of Amsterdam. Obviously, you can tell from my accent that I'm American. I am not born and raised in Europe. We've been here for about 3 years, but as you can imagine, we're extremely close to one of the best airports in the world. So it's very common for me to just bop all around Europe, even parts outside of Europe as well, to just kind of work from wherever we're traveling at the moment. And that's been a really rewarding experience for me. And that flexibility that I've built into my work to meet my lifestyle has been really, really great.
I love that. And you're about to go to Greece, right? You're about to bop over to the beautiful island of...
I actually just got back from Greece. We were in
Oh,
Kos. Yeah, so we were there just this past weekend. We got back on Sunday. We just chose it because it was a holiday here in the Netherlands, a Thursday and Friday holiday. And so we were like, we did the whole Google Flight Mapper thing of where can I go in a direct flight where I can leave on Thursday morning and come back on Sunday evening. And that was the best location, best price, best time frame kind of a deal. And we do a lot of that when we bop around. So we were just there for 4 days. So great. Completely shut down. Didn't do any work while we were there, which was awesome. And actually, our next trip is back to the US in 3 weeks-ish.
and how do you think the ability to go around, experience different cultures, experience different places, like how would you say that enriches or fuels your work?
It's been an extremely wonderful growth experience for me to live and work abroad. And it comes from a huge place of privilege to say that I can do that and just drop my life in the US and move wherever I want to move. But if anyone has the chance, any of your listeners have the chance to do it, I highly, highly recommend it because it just expands your mind in a way that you never thought possible. There were things about culturally living in the US that I never thought twice about until I stepped outside of the US and had just a different lens on my home culture. And so I think obviously there's a big personal impact. One of the biggest things personally is that I'm way more interested in languages than I ever thought I would be. And I've got friends from all over the world. And we have these really fun little conversations about, I have a friend from Austria who speaks German, and we were talking about the word peninsula one day, and the direct translation in German is land tongue. So just like really, really funny, charming things that you learn when you're around other people and around different cultures. And I think that's obviously very enriching from a personal perspective, but also from a work perspective too. It really expands your mind and helps you see the world in new ways, but also whatever problems you're approaching from a brand perspective in new ways too. It's been incredibly instrumental for me to be able to step outside of my comfort zone physically and mentally. And it's really grown who I am professionally as well.
I love that. I love that. And I can relate to it a lot. Moving here to Mexico, I had a similar experience of being able to reflect on my own culture in ways I had never done before, even working within an environment where culture was what I studied. And so I think that's a fabulous way to frame up what living abroad has given you. I'd love to dig a little deeper into your life. And one of the ways that we've been doing that is having people look on their phone at the fifth picture on the camera reel. And you can go with the fourth or the sixth if you'd rather talk about it, but fifth gives us a ballpark. And
Okay.
let me know what it is and what it says about you.
Okay. Well, this one's really easy because right now we are fostering a dog. She's a street dog from Portugal. I think she's actually only going to end up being with us for a weekend. So all of my last 20 is just of her. So here she is. She's super cute.
Oh, look at that adorable girl.
Yeah. So what does that say about my life? I love dogs. It's actually been really interesting. The way that they approach dog rescues here is quite different than they did it in the US. In the US, I feel like they give out dogs like candy. But here in the Netherlands, there's no stray dogs anywhere. It's like not a problem they have here. There's all these rescues where they work through Turkey or Greece or Portugal or wherever it is where they do have a big stray dog population. And you have to like select the dog ahead of time and then they'll like bring it in and give it with a foster. So it's a whole complicated situation. So maybe not the most profound thing about my life that you were looking for, but that's the current day to day.
No, I think it is kind of profound. Rescue dogs. I've got 2 rescues and I do a lot of work in sterilization clinics and helping place dogs because we have a whole lot of dogs here in Mexico, lots and lots of dogs. One person that we work with has gone through me to get a dog, but several people have gone through me to get dogs. And I love that. I love placing them. But one of the things I've found is like in this new work from home space, I have so much more time to love dogs. Like my Daisy sits beside me all day, every day. And our connection, I don't know if it would have been possible in the world before this
Yeah.
space where I'm at home and I'm spending that time with them and I'm able to, and just when I get up to get coffee, I'm not just walking by myself to a break room now. I'm walking into my kitchen. I have a chance to pet my dogs and connect.
Yeah.
So I think there is something there of just like those passions and connections. And I'm not saying you couldn't make before a space where you could work from home, but they weren't the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even just the flexibility of right now, I'm wearing leggings and a t-shirt. And that was something I could never do when I was working in an office. And I'm so much more comfortable when I can be wearing casual clothes. Things like when you're working in an office, the temperature is not usually set to a temperature that I would like. Like I would like it to be a bit warmer. So I think just being able to create the space that's the most inspiring for you creatively or the most comfortable for you is super, super important. But that said, I'm an introvert, so I would rather be alone, frankly. And I know I've got tons of extroverted friends who are like, oh, let me get back to the office as quickly as possible. I need the people time. So I think it's different strokes for different folk, but the work from home lifestyle, especially the flexibility, I already talked about my travel and that sort of thing. It's just amazing.
That's awesome. What are you most looking forward to in your future? What's around the bend?
It's a good question. Well, immediate future, we're headed to the US in 3 weeks, like I said. So just excited to get back home and connect with family. It's been well, luckily my parents come over here a lot, so I've seen them, but it's been about a year since I've seen kind of my whole extended family and my brothers and my nieces and nephews and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be really good to have that good quality time, a nice long trip, 3 weeks with them. And of course, we always look forward to 4th of July in the US. Our very first year here, we did it here and we were like trying to make 4th of July happen. And we were like teaching all of our European friends how to play beer pong and this kind of stuff, which was fun, but it's just not quite the same. You also live far from your people. Sometimes it's just nice to have those like big celebratory experiences back in your home comfort zone.
That's really fun. Yes, we do celebrate 4th of July here because there are a number of immigrants from the US here, but
Nice.
it's nice because we actually get 2 Independence Days, right? Mexico's and US's. Well, I love that. There are so many people that probably will listen to this, hopefully listen to this and look at your lifestyle and say like, how do I do that? How do I get myself in a position where I can live where I want to live, somewhere like Amsterdam and fly around and be able to bop to Greece? What advice would you have for them?
I think I've talked a lot about the really good, cheerful, sunny side. It is great to be able to live and work wherever you want, but there's a difficulty there too. And the example that I'll give is when I first moved here, I had a client who was based on the West Coast, which is a 9-hour time difference from the Netherlands. And it was really, really hard because I felt like I had to be available. I had to have a certain number of hours of overlap. And before you know it, I was working at 8, 9 p.m. and I was starting to get burnt out. So I would say the biggest lesson that I learned really fast was how important it is to set your boundaries. But also, you have to be reasonable. You have to realize when you have a client on the West Coast, they're going to want to be able to get in contact with you. But the more that you can communicate, like, hey, I am 6, 8, 9 hours ahead of you. Can we find a time that works for both of us? 9 times out of 10, people are reasonable and they're like, oh, of course, I didn't even realize you were on a different time zone, and it's not a thing. But just being really open and communicative about how you work, what your boundaries are, what you need from your clients. In my case, doing client work, I wish I learned earlier and not almost a full year in.
That's great. That's really helpful. And, I think that on the other side of that, something I've experienced working with you, because we're 9 hours apart, is when you play it right, we actually get like nearly 20 hours of working time in a day, because if
Yeah.
we can sort of switch off things, then we actually extend the amount of time that we're able to move a particular report or something like that. So
Yeah.
there can be real benefits to communicating it and being really clear about it as well.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's almost a superpower because I work pretty much exclusively with US clients. I've had a couple European clients here and there, but it's like they get up at 8 a.m. and it's like this whole work day of mine has already happened. And if some like big website release needs to go live, like I'm the one who can get on there while it's 3 a.m. your time and make sure it all, looks flawless by the time it comes out. So it actually, I think, is more pros than cons when it comes to the time zone thing. But it's just so, so important to find people to collaborate with who are going to be understanding and want to work with you and want to collaborate and not just be like my way or the highway, sister. So as long as you can find those people and communicate well, communicate transparently, it's definitely doable and a great, great way to live and work.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Claire. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks, Ryan.